Welcome to the Steering Change Podcast, navigating through the commercial transportation industry in Alberta and beyond, powered by the Alberta Motor Transport Association. Here's your host, Kelsey Hipkin.
Hello, listeners of Steering Change. Welcome to the final episode of our three-part series, Trucking, Past, Present, and Future. In our last episode, we took a look at trucking present, including the Alberta Government Class 1 Learning Pathway and the release of a new AMTA book, ProTech and Proactive, Understanding and Leveraging the World of Safety Technology to Move Beyond Compliance-Focused Safety Management. Today we look forward, literally, to the future of commercial transportation. From alternative fuels to autonomous vehicles to vehicle improvements and safety improvements, commercial transportation has come a long way, and today we'll explore that a bit more of what's going on in the province and how it impacts commercial transportation. For this episode, we're joined by Jared Sayers, President and CEO, Azolla Hydrogen, and Terri Johnson, Manager, Industry Advancement with AMTA. Jared, Terri, welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, great to be here. Thank you.
To start, let's get to know you a bit more. Jared, can you tell us a bit about yourself and the work that you do?
Yeah, thank you again for having me. I'm super excited to be here. And Azolla is a great news story for Alberta, and so we're super excited to be able to be part of the energy transition. And Azolla is developing some technology around production, compression, storage, and dispensing of hydrogen, and building out infrastructure for Alberta. So we are completely an Alberta startup, and super excited to be building infrastructure for Alberta by Albertans. So that's, I guess, a little bit about us, and we're building more stations in Alberta and for the city of Winnipeg as well. So we're super excited about our continued success and our pathways forward. So.
Amazing. Thank you, Jared. And Terri, welcome back. Can you tell us a bit about the work you do with AMTA?
Well, thank you, Kelsey. I am working with research and innovation. Our title is Industry Advancement. So some of the innovation that we're working with has been surrounded around alternative fuels, and that's why Jared is here today. So we've been trialing the fuel cell electric, hydrogen diesel dual fuel, and battery electric vehicles. So if you go back through other podcasts or if you take a look on our website, you can see more information on those. We're really trying to trial and test new technologies to educate industry and give them opportunities that will be able to provide data for real world decision making. That's what we're working on.
Amazing. Thank you. And thank you for the plug to our websites. For our listeners, we will make sure that those are in the show notes as well, so you guys can find those. Terri, I'm going to stay with you. Can you tell me how AMTA and Azolla came to be involved in working together on Alberta's hydrogen ecosystem and beyond?
Yeah, so our department, Industry Advancement, has been working with different hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicles and hydrogen diesel dual fuel vehicles through the AZTech project and the hydrogen vehicle demonstrations. And in working with vehicles, number one thing you need is fueling. So always looking for fueling. Connected with Jared probably about 2 to 3 years ago. And at that time, Jared was actually providing fuel in California as an Alberta-based company, which didn't make sense at all since we needed hydrogen so desperately here in Alberta. So introducing Jared to today, he has a really unique technology that I think could be leading edge for industry. There's all sorts of hydrogen production that is done that is centralized production. So hydrogen is produced in one space and trucked or transported or pipelined to another. But Jared's providing a different option. He's doing distributive production, which is on-site production of hydrogen. And that's really why I wanted to ensure that industry is aware of Jared and opportunities that it may have for larger fleets, opportunities for different communities or rural regions. So Jared, can you talk a little bit about this method that might actually become a market disruptor in hydrogen?
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Terri. The Azolla story is, a good news story because of the innovation and the collaboration that's happened between all our station partners and ourselves. I've worked in oil and gas my entire life, and we wanted to leverage that expertise and technology that Alberta has And we saw a lot of challenges with being able to supply, have a reliable supply of hydrogen that's, not only affordable, but also has some pathways, to improvement and to greener possibilities. So our technology we've developed over the last 4 years is around methanol reformation. So we use methanol and deionized water to produce on site. And really what we've done is provided a new pathway that's never been done before. So the Ellerslie station that was built in Edmonton, is truly a one of a kind. It's a highly engineered product that allows for an efficient use of technology to create hydrogen on site, to not only produce it, but then to compress it in the most efficient way possible, store it in high pressure storage tanks, and then dispense it into the vehicles. And by being able to produce or control all of those elements, Azolla has really improved the efficiency for the hydrogen to make it affordable today. And the Ellerslie station that was opened a month ago is a great collaboration between government of Alberta, municipalities, the city of Edmonton, and our partners to kind of develop and improve the technology and have a real world testing ground. So, we're not perfect today, but I always tell our team, we're getting better every day. So, it allows us that opportunity to test it and to prove out the reliability of our technology and illustrate to some of the carriers that hydrogen does have a future and can be produced and is a reliable source.
And that station that you mentioned, Jared, it is the first of its kind in Alberta for our listeners in the city of Edmonton. Why was it that you guys chose Edmonton for this first location?
Yeah, Edmonton was I guess, Terri and a lot of members around Edmonton were driving hydrogen and were really supportive of it. So I think, it's a unique environment when you got everybody who's trying to collaborate and come together. Edmonton was just a first mover in that, and they saw the technology and saw some of the advantages, and were willing to kind of put together a group that could, work together to try and, it's not easy. This energy transition is not easy. It's it's an evolution, and it's it's a constant battles of, what comes first, the chicken and egg of production or a station and an infrastructure and the vehicles. And so to, combine all those and bring them together at the right time with supply and demand is a real challenge. And I think it's you know, great kudos to Terri and her team that have worked hard over the years to, not only pull these people together, but continue to drive this and show the benefits to everybody. And that's a real true testament to the hard work that they put into it.
So, Jared, I know AMTA is doing some truck trials. We're working with Nikola trucks and the Aztec trucks now, which are fuel cell. But who else is fueling at your station? It's not just AMTA.
No, the city of Edmonton has some fuel cell buses, the city of Sturgeon County and Strathcona. And so there's some dual fuel vehicles coming in, a refuse truck. So it allows, the nice part about now finally having a reliable supply of hydrogen, it allows others to try some tests and trials and different pilots. So I think we have a lot of exciting things on the precipice of that'll come to fruition now that they can have some supply and an affordable supply. I should mention that as well. That's always been a challenge in when it comes to hydrogen, is trying to keep the cost down. So I think there's a lot of fuel cell and some fuel cell to battery electric charging happening now. So I think we'll see some of those pilot projects come in the future. So we're super excited to see that and support all of those.
So you're fueling garbage trucks, Class 8 trucks, coach buses, transit buses at your facility. Can you fuel cars there as well?
Yeah, we're currently fueling the Toyota Mirais. We're currently running at 350 bar fueling. So the challenge with the cars is they run a little bit higher pressure, but we're essentially fueling Toyota Mirai's cars as well. So, and we have plans to expand the station to go up to 700 bar, so we can give them a full tank of fuel for the cars. The buses and the trucks all run at 350 bar right now, and there's some trucks that run at 700, but that'll be a future. The nice part about the station is that it's modular, so we can add on to it, and we can add compression and go to the 700 bar now that we've built up a little bit of supply, and we have that demand, and as that demand increases, we can increase and expand with that as well.
So for people that are listening that don't understand the difference between 350 and 700 bar, can you give us a little bit of an explanation in some of the vehicle maybe that would be operating under those conditions?
Yeah, for sure. So 350 bar is what, because the buses and the heavy haul trucks have a little bit larger capacity for the tanks, so they run at 350 bar, and which is about 5,000 psi. And then because of the size constraints on the cars, they typically run at 700 bar, so higher pressure but smaller tanks, and then they can fit inside the vehicles a little bit easier. So there's a couple of vehicles that now are running with 700 bars on the trucks, and that's why we'll expand the station as those vehicles become more and more available. We'll add to that modular capacity of the station to go there as well. So, and essentially it's 10,000 psi, and it gives them just more range, so longer times between fills, and that's the Toyota Mirai today gets about 800 kilometers between fills, so it's a pretty good vehicle for that perspective, and we're getting good mileage on the trucks as well. So,
just thanks for the clarification on that, Terry. As a lot of our listeners, and personally for myself, not understanding some of the lingo that comes with this kind of new world that we're seeing of hydrogen as a fuel. So thanks for clarifying that one. Any other questions for Jared, Terry?
Yeah. So, Judd, are you able to tell us a little bit about the way you're producing hydrogen? I know you had said methanol in water. What does that mean for somebody just coming to your station?
yeah, essentially we have a feedstock and a liquid feedstock, and it's essentially made up. Our feedstock is made up of methanol and water. And what that allows us to do is always have a larger supply of feedstock available on site. So we can, by producing on site, it's the most efficient way to produce hydrogen, and you don't have to move the molecule around. So we use the liquid carriers of methanol and water to move the hydrogen around and then bring it to us at the station. And we get about a 10 times advantage by doing that with a liquid carrier like methanol and water, and then allows us to build it on site. So when we build on site, we produce it, we heat it, we superheat it, and essentially we make it into a gas, and then we separate out the hydrogen, and we pull the hydrogen out of that molecule, and then we purify it to a 5/9 of purity, so a very clean hydrogen. And then we do a heat recovery system on the waste gas. So it's a fairly efficient system to produce hydrogen because we're trying to capture and utilize electric heat and capture the heat that's required to heat up the liquid, and then we purify the hydrogen. And by controlling, the nice thing about the Azolla technology is we control the software and everything from right from production, compression, and storage. So we have a balanced load of as we produce the hydrogen, we're compressing it into a high pressure storage tank. As we fill those tanks, then we're able to dispense it into the vehicle. And the entire Azolla technology controls all of those. And we've created a balance and efficient use of all those systems to optimize them so we can essentially be as efficient as possible.
When you're talking about hydrogen production, you're talking about 5/9 and fuel cell grade. Why is that important?
Yeah, with hydrogen going through the fuel cells, essentially what happens is hydrogen flows through the fuel cell to create electricity, to recharge the battery, to give it electricity. And the purity of those, as the hydrogen flows through the plates, has to be a pure so that it doesn't plug up the membranes on the fuel cell. So we, as we go through and produce that hydrogen, we purify it to the 5.9, so 99.999% pure hydrogen. And there's a SAE J2719 fueling protocol that gives us all the requirements, like 5 parts per million of water and 0.2 CO ppm parts per million. And so that purity is so that the fuel cells can operate and have a longer life to them, so we don't plug up those membranes or anything like that. So so that's for the fuel cells. And then for the hydrogen combustion and dual fuels, the purity doesn't need to be quite as pure, but still helps with the overall purity of the hydrogen being injected into the dual fuel and diesel to allow for a cleaner burn of the diesel fuel. So,
will there be a risk in the future as more stations start producing hydrogen that they won't be able to validate this fuel cell grade hydrogen for fuel cell vehicles?
Yeah, that's the great part about this Ellerslie station, is that it's essentially testing and proving ground. So we're testing our purity. We are validating our purities as we go forward. And as that technology develops, and as you can imagine, it's very hard to even the testing for the purity of that hydrogen was a challenge. And currently that's being done with a combination of some local vendors, but also some vendors who have been doing it for a long time in California. So, the overall evolution of the supply chain and the vendors has to come up in Alberta, and we're trying to teach that to the local vendors and bring them up and educate them. And we're working with vendors to try and bring our expertise back to Alberta and share it with everybody in the ecosystem here. So I think we've done I think that's what's unique about Azolla, is that we have a tremendous amount of industry knowledge that I think a lot of people just thought they didn't really require. So I think that's what Azolla really brings to the industry, is some expertise, and that's what we've been able to show everybody over the last little while, is that we actually can execute, and we say what we're going to do, and we go ahead and do it. And that's the Alberta advantage, is just making it happen and getting it done, right? So we're super excited about our team.
Because of your oil and gas background, you guys are just able to upskill and take those existing skills and put them in a new industry.
Yeah, I always say, that's what made Alberta happen was, it's in oil and gas, there's some guys with grade 9 educations who made things happen, and that still happens today. I think Alberta, that's what the Alberta advantage is, and we need to get back to. And I think that's why I'm so proud to be part of the Azolla team, is that these guys have shown that, Alberta can be a leader in the hydrogen sector, and we're punching way above our weight. So we're super excited about that, and super proud to be Alberta company, competing not only in Alberta but on the global stage as well. So we're super excited to share what comes out of this Ellerslie station.
So Jared, if I decided to purchase a hydrogen semi-truck like we have, can I just pull up to the pump and start fueling in Ellerslie?
Yeah, we're working with the city of Edmonton and the partners, and making that available to everybody who has hydrogen vehicles. And so right now it's closed to the public, but we're open to all the industry partners and everybody in the ecosystem. And we're trying to develop that and start not only with the Ellerslie station. We have a second station coming on in Q1 of 2026. So we'll have 2 sites to be able to fuel up your vehicles and supply at different locations. And then, for Azolla too, we're excited about the city of Winnipeg. We have later this year, we'll be commissioning a station for them as well for fuel cell buses.
So, Jared, when someone rolls up to the hydrogen station, what does that look like? Is it like pulling into a regular gas station? What is the process?
Yeah, we've made it really simple and to help with that ease of transition and to educate the drivers. The drivers just come into our control room and they can watch the fueling happen, and we have an operator on site who will connect to the vehicle and fuel up the vehicle for them. So yeah, we've put an on-site operator to control all of the fueling for the vehicles, just to help educate the drivers and get them more comfortable. And as they get more comfortable, then eventually they'll be, doing the fueling themselves. But to make it as easy as possible for the drivers today, they can just kind of get comfortable and sit back and watch. And it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to fuel up a vehicle, and away they go, and they're back on the road again. So we've tried to make that easy as possible for them.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jared. And the projects that you're touching on, what do projects like this mean for the future of transportation in Alberta?
Yeah, great question, Kelsey. I think it allows for some real world impact. We can prove that we have a scalable solution. It's economic growth. It's showing leadership in the energy transition. I think as we start to develop and train more technicians and we utilize some of that technology that I talked about, I think that's just it just allows people to be able to show that industry diversification that can happen, and illustrate what Alberta has to offer and be a part of that. So.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, Terri, I'm going to put you under the spotlight for a minute. Can you tell me about some of the other projects regarding the future of industry that AMTA is involved with right now?
Yeah, so as far as hydrogen goes, we've got the Tech vehicles, the Nikola vehicles that are running under a zero emission truck test bed project with Transport Canada. So we're trialing those vehicles here in Alberta. That is being supported by redundant hydrogen supply. So Jared is one of the vendors that's supporting our hydrogen. We also work with Suncor, we work with Air Products. And there was, for a small period of time, the 700 bar fueler with blackjacks. And that's something that's very important because 700 bar fueling, it will be required for industry. I know, Jared, you're working on that solution, so we can't wait till you have 700 bar fueling around. We're also working with some autonomous projects, so that'll be a future time that we'll be talking with you about that.
And a future podcast, yes.
Yeah.
And Terri, we have an event coming up in September regarding CNG. Can you tell us what that is and what the event is?
Yeah, we do. So September 17th, we'll be working with Cummins, and they'll be bringing their CNG trucks. So differences between hydrogen can be looked at as zero emissions fuel. CNG is a fuel that will help to decarbonize industry, both achieving those reduced emissions. So if you're interested in taking a look and listening more about the CNG vehicles, we look forward to seeing you September 17th.
And Terri or Jared, that's compressed natural gas, right?
Yes.
Did I nail it? All right. And Terri, in these projects, what kind of trends are you seeing just like pulling transportation into the future? Are you seeing trends? What's going on?
Yeah, emissions reductions is a huge trend that's going on. I know with our geopolitical climate and our friends south of the border, there's been a little bit of a reduction there in their focus on emissions reductions, but Alberta and Canada as a whole has not reduced their focus on emissions reductions. So looking at different fuels to be able to reduce, I know hydrogen will provide that zero emissions opportunity. Also looking at different ways that we can take a look at vehicle technology to reduce fuel consumption, which is another way to reduce emissions. So whether it's installing mud flaps on your vehicles to reduce those emissions, there are some really good options out there. So if individuals are looking for more options, give us a call. We've got a great team here that can help you and even connect you with some funding to implement those emission reduction technologies. So outside of that, autonomous is a new focus that we're working on, or it's a renewed focus, I guess. We did do a project back in 2019. So, yeah.
And I'm going to vouch for Terri and the team. Their knowledge is expansive. They know more than I could ever hope to gather myself. So we will have that information if folks have any questions in our show notes to reach out to Terri's team. I'm going to come back to ask you both the same question. I'm going to start with you, Jared. How will advancements in automation and sustainable energy reshape the commercial transportation industry over the next decade?
Oh, yeah,
It's a
great
deep
question.
one.
I think it'll just show that the shift from traditional energy to clean tech, won't abandon its roots. It'll just be proof that sustainability and economic resilience can go hand in hand. I think as we get that automation and efficiency improvements, then I think there'll be less and less pressure on some of those things to be cost driven, and then we can show some efficiencies in the overall life cycle and things like that. So I think it's a symbol of the transition that'll happen, and we're excited about it. I think there's a ton to be learned and developed, and we're at the right place in Alberta to do it.
Amazing. Thank you. Now, Terri, your turn. How will advancements in automation and sustainable energy reshape the commercial transportation industry over the next decade?
I think we're always looking at new opportunities, everything that's new. So I would assume that there will be new markets. One of the reasons we got involved in the emissions reduction with fuels is because we're assuming the government contracts and other contracts will create a new market for industry, where in order to be able to deliver goods to these organizations, they will have to have some kind of emissions reductions that they're able to prove and validate. So I see new markets arriving. Everybody's always concerned about jobs going away, but that's not going to happen. There'll be new jobs or upskilled jobs. So I don't see that we'll have to worry about our current jobs, because as everything evolves, it'll be an opportunity for individuals to become more educated in different ways to do their jobs, the same jobs they're doing with the same skill sets they have differently. So that adaptation is something that Jared touched on that Albertans are really good at. They're really good at identifying opportunities and adapting what they're currently doing to fit a new market. And that's where I see us going in the future. Efficiencies, environmental awareness, and like you said, Jared, the whole reason is for cost reductions. So even though right now the costs are more expensive to get involved in these areas, the goal is to make them equal or less.
And I wanna take us back in my time here working with you, Terri. Just the sense of camaraderie and collaboration with all of the stuff that you have going on. We go back to platooning. You've touched on Aztec. We're talking about the work with Jared and Azolla and hydrogen. Can you just kind of speak to the camaraderie of this kind of niche of industry?
Yeah, AMTA is in a really good position because we represent actually the commercial carrier and the driver. We don't represent a specific technology or a specific initiative. We're here to gather data and to provide industry with new opportunities, and good information about what's working and what's not working and what's coming up that's new and emerging. So I guess that's why I thought it was really important to bring Jared here, because I think with his form of hydrogen production, a carrier can actually have fuel being produced in their operations, on their yards. And this is something new to industry again. There may be real value in that. We just have to look at new ways of doing the same things we're doing.
Amazing. Thank you. I would like to thank you both for your time today. I am going to wind things down, but I'm going to leave you with one last question. Jared, is there anything you would like to add on our chat today?
Yeah, I think I would just like to thank the AMTA and all those carriers that Terri talked about, and the members' willingness to try something new and and try and drive something forward. And I'm super excited to see if we can prove that the sustainability is going to leave a great legacy going for the future generations. So super excited and thankful for those people who are willing to try it and work through some of those bumps and help us get to the next level. So thank you.
Amazing. And I am going to throw one last one at you. Just what does it kind of mean to, and you have touched on this, but I'm revisiting. You're Alberta-based. Maybe alternative fuels aren't always the favorite topic of the day, but what does it mean to you, like being an Albertan with an Albertan company, bringing hydrogen in this way to the world?
Oh, I mean, now you're pulling at my heartstrings here because I couldn't be more proud of our legacy and our everybody who's gotten us to this point so far. You know what? I take a lot of the credit for the team, but we have a tremendous team around us and a tremendous board of directors who have supported us all the way along. And there's been a lot of bumps and a lot of people said we couldn't do it. And without all the support and family support and vendors and people who just have a can-do attitude on our team, we wouldn't have got here. So that is the Alberta advantage coming through and through. Like I say, there's just so many things that got in our way, and we just kept checking boxes and kept going on and breaking through. So, and it's because of Terri and all the people involved, and like her, and it couldn't be more. And thank you for getting the word out here now about hydrogen too. So I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And Terri, anything you would like to add as a final note?
Well, I hear what Jared's saying, and I think first off, thanks to carriers and for drivers, because they are the ones. And for carriers and drivers listening to this podcast, if you want to get involved and be involved in any of these trials, please connect back with us, because we're always looking for individuals that can continue to collaborate with us. That is what keeps us going, is understanding who is into these emerging technologies and who wants to be a first adopter. But the other thing I wanted to add is Alberta is a leader. The government, even right to transportation economic corridors, they approve these projects for us to be doing this innovation. Not every province is interested in me calling them and saying, how do I do this? Can you help me with this? We create a lot more work for them, but Alberta is very future forward and very interested in becoming a leader and having great opportunities, specifically because we've always been known as a strong energy provider in Canada. Alberta is leading this. So it's exciting to see the Alberta leadership.
Amazing. And you did trigger one last question there. Can you delve into the how, what, and why of the hydrogen demonstrations that you guys are working on?
Hydrogen vehicle demonstrations that we've been working with, we have put fuel cell, electric, and hydrogen diesel dual fuel vehicles in 32 different carriers' possession for approximately 2 weeks for them to trial this technology. Initially, when the program was started, it was funded by Prairie Can. Right now, our funding for that program has run out, but we do still have vehicles here. And if you're interested in trialing these vehicles in your operations to understand how they work, please do contact us, because we know all the right players, and we'll see what we can do to get you into a demonstration type project.
Amazing. Thank you, Terri and Jared, for your knowledge and insight today. We totally appreciate it, and we'll likely have you both back someday.
Sure.
For everyone who joined us on this journey visiting trucking past, present, and future, we thank you for listening and coming along for the ride. Do you have an idea for a future Steering Change series? Message us at marcom@amta.ca. That is marcom@amta.ca. Now for some AMTA news. Join us for our next episode dropping August 29th, in which we extensively research the world of commercial vehicle wheel-offs, technology to prevent them, and what carriers and suppliers are doing to improve safety. And it's back! AMTA's Drawdown Dinner returns October 16th at the River Cree Entertainment Center. Tickets are available under events at amta.ca. Stay safe and see you next time.
Thank you for listening to this episode of AMTA's Steering Change podcast. The views expressed by guests of the Steering Change podcast are their own and may not reflect the views of AMTA, its hosts, or sponsors. Did you have a question that you would like answered on an upcoming episode of the Steering Change podcast? We want to hear from you. To submit a question to the Steering Change mailbag, hit up our DMs on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram with the hashtag Steering Change, and your question will be answered either live on the podcast or by one of our SMEs here at AMTA. We ask that you share this episode with those in your network that could benefit from what we discussed today, and make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform so you can be notified when future episodes are released. You can learn more about us and our mission by visiting www.amta.ca. Now get out there and have a safe day.